Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DiChiara back to you once again with another amazing episode of How to Win Big at Business. That's right, I've changed the name of the show again. And I decided, why just win when you can win big? And if you haven't noticed, and you probably haven't, I have not been around the last couple of days. I took a couple of brief intermissions, and I'm talk about that at the end of the broadcast tonight. And if you don't know me, my name is Joe DiChiara. I am a CPA, tricked into becoming one by my father when I was 17, because he told me that CPAs run businesses, and I did not know that that meant I was going to be an accountant. But here I am 35 years later, after working with thousands of small business owners. My purpose in life became talking about those instances and trying to help people organize their business. Because one of the things that I've learned, I actually learned this a long time ago, but I didn't realize that I learned it, and this is what I've been doing. Businesses get disorganized. It's very simple. It's very simple to start a business, and it's even easier to get unorganized. It's simply too many things to do. It's too damn complicated to begin with. If you take my area of taxes and record keeping and compliance issues, I get tired of doing this stuff. I get tired. So what I do is in an area that people want to put off, and that gets them into trouble. That gets people into trouble. But back to the, being disorganized. It's not okay to have a business and not be organized. It's just not. Now, I have to tell you that I've seen pictures or people being interviewed, like high profile people. And you look, and when you see this next time, you're probably going to laugh because you're going to say, oh, Joe DiChiara talked about this. But some very, very successful people, you look at their office and it's in shambles. It's in freaking shambles. Well, don't let appearances fool you. The fact that you think that somebody is, and this is probably not even what you thought I was going to say, and I wasn't planning on saying this, but this is a conversation that's been coming up a lot with my clients, and it's the fact that just because somebody looks successful and organized on the outside, don't assume that they got their stuff together, because there are people that make a living out of faking it. Okay, that doesn't mean that they're not movers and shakers. It just means that maybe they're not as well put together as people see on the outside. And maybe there's a whole nother level to how they're organizing their stuff. In other words, what you see in the background might not be what's in front of them. Maybe they have a great team and their office isn't important. Now, to me, having an organized office is extremely important. Not only for organization purposes, but for me to have a clear mind. If I got stuff like, and even now, I mean, I got my office pretty damn organized because of all the time that I have. But it's still not organized enough. And I'm not even talking about the stuff on the paper that piles up on your desk. I don't have that stuff. It's just constantly rearranging my environment. And I just got the thought of one of my friends, PK O'Doul, is a feng shui expert, and I was planning on having her on one of these lives a while ago, and thanks for reminding me about that. But back to the subject of being disorganized, because I believe that, after I peel away all of the layers of exactly what I'm trying to do and who I'm trying to do it for, it really becomes, putting things in the proper, I don't want to keep using order as a word, but I'll look in the thesaurus for other words. But things have to happen in a sequence. Okay, that's my word. Things have to happen in sequence in business in order for there to be more money at the end of the day. And I repeat myself a lot, and the reason is because these principles don't change. Nobody can argue with me about, you can't argue with the fact that 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, and in the science of getting rich, Wallace Wattles challenges people and says, if one person does this and it doesn't work, that's proof that it doesn't work. But I mean, if it doesn't work, if you follow all the instructions, it's proof. But if somebody does the work and the formula works, you can't argue about it. That's what science is, I think, anyway. But the fundamental facts of business is, and it doesn't matter if you're doing a podcast. I just got a gentleman yesterday that does a podcast. And I can apply the same principles that I'm talking about here to a podcast as a business model as I can with any other type of small business. Okay, and let me be clear. When I talk about business, I'm talking about the very small business. People that are solopreneurs, maybe a couple of employees, and believe it or not, out of 30 million businesses out there, over 25 million have no employees. We're what they call non-employer firms. So most people never even get to have one employee. And those are the businesses that I really focus on. And so tonight, what I wanted to do is really talk about, finally, I want to start talking about what people are going to start doing when the stores start opening. How are they going to reorganize? How are you going to organize your business now, which is the only time there ever is now? How are you going to put the wheels in motion now for your business to open? Okay, and I have been talking about this from the beginning. It was always, what are you doing now? Because that's one of the principles. It's not what you're going to do tomorrow, because tomorrow is in the future, and you can't do stuff later. I mean, you can put it off, but you can't do it later. So when you say I'm going to do it later, that sentence makes no sense if you think about it. You can only do it now. You can't do it. You can't say, oh, I'm going to do it, yesterday. There's a lot of things I should have done yesterday, but the fact is that now is the only time that you can get started. So if you're not organized yet, okay, if any of this resonates with you, and you want to discuss it further, I have a little thing here that says Mastermind with Joe DiChiara. And this is where we talk about stuff like this and we solve business problems, and it's free. And the next one is going to be on Saturday at 2 o'clock. I have a great bunch of people that show up. We do it Wednesdays at 2 p.m. and Saturdays at 2 p.m. And I actually have a really wonderful assistant, Elizabeth Frederick, who a lot of times listens to my broadcast here. So if you're listening, Elizabeth, I'm giving you a shout out, and I'm saying thank you for helping me, because there's another thing that I've learned is you can't do it alone. You can try to do it alone, but you're going to be limited. So let me get into tonight's lesson. And yeah, I'm changing the name to how to win big at business, because I don't do anything that I want to be small, not with intention. I do my business because I want to win big, not just for me, but for the people that I serve. So let's go into the short presentation that I set up about 3 minutes ago because I said I want to have a PowerPoint. I'm getting a lot better at this. So for those of you that have never been doing Facebook Lives and are terrified at the prospect, so was I about 5 months ago until my friend Haley taught me how easy this is. And so you can do it too. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So let's talk about tonight's business training, which is really how to organize your business post COVID-19. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know if there's any post COVID-19, and it's really irrelevant. The idea here, folks, the concept is we want to go back to doing business. And what that looks like is probably going to be a lot different than it did before. And that can be a really good thing. And it's not like we have a choice in the matter here. It's not like we have a choice of whether this is going to be good or bad. It is what it is. Okay? But little by little, people are coming out of their apartments, out of their homes, and starting to walk around. And yeah, we all have masks on and stuff. But this is going to be the next episode in business, in not only the United States, in the world. And maybe it'll wind up being better. That's what I hope. I always hope that things will get better, and they do. They do. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time and a lot of pain and suffering, but the doors are starting to crack open. I see them. I see activities in some of the restaurants. I saw the car wash up the road from me opened. And life is going to get back to life, and forget about normal, because I don't know what if we were ever normal. Okay, but hopefully, it's my sincere hope that people will rebound from this like never before. And it's not the first time, folks. I've said this before. If you look back at history, it's happened plenty of times where there was a realignment that people had to shift or pivot based on the current circumstances. So what I'd like to share with you are 5 steps that I've pinpointed that I want to share with you on how you can hit the ground running post COVID-19. And I like to think that that's where we are right now. We are right now post, because I don't know about you, but I am tired of being in COVID-19. And I understand that there's still rules now. There's curfews, which is another thing I want to address about this the crazy things that's going on with the riots and stuff. But that, let me hold off on that until the end because it's important. And so let's just go through the 5 things that you could start focusing on right now. And let me just add, if this resonates with you, because it is my intention to connect with people, and I want to talk about that, because one of my friends, mentors, and now coach, Larry Broughton, had me take this Clifton Strength Finder test, and it's pretty amazing, pretty fascinating. And what it showed was that my top strength is connectedness. It's connectedness. And the second strength is learning. And that makes sense to me because it explains a lot of the feelings and emotions and my actions that I've gone through my whole life. But I don't know why I brought that up. I was meaning to bring it up later, but That's one of my superpowers. Hopefully, I'll remember why I brought that up. But let's talk about what we could start focusing on right now. That I just remembered. My superpower is connectedness, and that's why I'm doing these lives. Why I do everything now is really to connect with people, connect with the right people, connect not only with people that can help me advance my mission, but people that want to connect me that I can help advance. So if you're one of those people that would like to discuss business with me on either end, on working with me, working for me, or just working together, you can go to timewithjoe.com. So that's all I wanted to say. You can go to Time with Joe to connect with me, and that's the whole purpose of these. Okay, so that we can connect. I can give you hopefully some information that's going to help you get your business on track. And this is what I came up with tonight, which is, what problem do you solve? Now, if you work with me, you know that this is one of the first things that I ask to begin with. But we have a whole new set of rules now. You know, we have this thing that's going on that now has created a whole new set of problems for people that didn't have them before. For instance, the whole mask thing, okay? If you were in the sewing business, or I've heard people in the, you know, manufacturing, the clothing, shirt manufacturing business, and they pivoted and started producing masks. Okay, who would have thought 3 months ago or 5 or 6 months ago that, hey, let's start producing masks and we'll sell them. And I even got people like my mom is custom making masks for people, because this is a problem. All of a sudden people need this accessory. Okay, and the problem is that, you know, well, people want to stay healthy. They don't want to breathe in these germs. And if you go out without a mask, people are going to be looking at you funny. So that's a problem. So now when you uncover a problem, you uncover an opportunity. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, where there's chaos, there's opportunity. And I always found a lot of chaos. And I think that that's a good reason why I never had a problem generating revenue, finding clients. I was, you know, I did it without intention. I did it without realizing what I was doing. But the truth is that I was always on a mission to find people with the problem. Now, it would have helped if I was more specific, okay? And I defined that. But like I said, I wasn't doing it really with intention. So the second thing that you can start focusing on now is, who exactly are you solving this problem for? You know, you can call it an avatar, your ideal client, whatever you want, but there has to be somebody that's going to be paying you to solve this problem, if that makes sense. So we're starting to see a sequence here. You know, you find the problem, and then you find somebody that has the problem. You can't, you know, it might work the other way, but you might find somebody with a problem, but if you don't know what problem you're solving, you're not going to turn that into a business. And that's all I not all that I care about, but that's my specific purpose. My job is to help people monetize their idea, their solution. And I'll tell you why I say this. I've had, over the last couple of days, had the opportunity to talk to a couple of different prospects. Okay, yeah, in this cycle of connecting, I connect with people that might want to hire me to help them solve their problem. And a few times I came across a person that didn't care about money, or money wasn't important to them. Well, I can't help those kind of people, because my whole thing is monetizing, creating a business model. So if you read The Science of Getting Rich, and that's where this comes from, you're supposed to make money. You're supposed to be rich. You're also supposed to do good and help the universe. So just because it's great when you find what that is, but if you want to connect with me and get my help, then there has to be a monetary factor in there, because my whole sequence is leading up to the money. The bottom line is the result has to be that you have more money in your bank account at the end of the month than what you started with. And this is where people, I think, get off track. They get off track with all of the details, all of the stuff. One of the things I ask new clients to do is list all of the stuff that they're doing now. It's, oh, I'm doing my website, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And I look, and it's a list of things to do. That's not your business. That if you're just checking off boxes on a list of things to do, then you're a manager. So the idea is to keep focused. My focus is on what's going to make your account, your cash grow. What's going to make you have more money at the end of the day. So that's what my focus is. The third area you can focus on is why this one. Now, some people see business opportunities like the mask thing. Okay, and you can say, "Oh, I'll make all these masks and I'll help these kinds of people." But why? Why? Like, I'm not going into the mask business. I have no desire. That's not a problem that I want to solve. Yeah, I think that there could be a lot of money made for people that want to solve that problem. But I just described the problem that I solved. I solved the problem of people not having the right sequence. And that's a big problem. I got more than enough business solving that problem. I heard somebody say that one of the favorite things is untangling Christmas lights. Well, that's what I do with businesses. I untangle their lights. So when you're looking at how do I hit the ground running post COVID-19, you should be saying, why am I solving this problem? There's so many problems out there to solve, believe me. And when you know why you're solving a problem, who you're solving it for, it makes your business so much easier to put in sequence. And that's why I talk about these things all the time, because these are fundamentals, people. And if you haven't noticed, this is the same lesson that I could have given 6 months ago. This is the same lesson because it doesn't change. That's what's great about principles. That's what's great about how I designed my business, because I never missed a beat. Now, have you missed a step with your business? Have things gone off track for you? Are you wondering, like, what is my next step? Because that's what I could help you with. Because for me, it's easy. I've made it easy. And that's what I like to do for my clients. And let's get to The fourth out of five, which is how. Now, this is important because you can be able to identify a problem, who has it, why you want to fix this problem, but you got to be able to do it. You got to be able to deliver. And not only deliver, you have to be able to deliver efficiently and effectively. If you're doing websites for people, you have to, you have a deadline. This is when it has to get done. There's a whole back office thing with websites, and it's confusing. And it's like, that's why I have Haley Gray doing my website. Okay, she knows how. I don't. I've tried it, and if you've seen some of my older websites, you've known that that website was done by a CPA, not a web designer. So you got to know how to solve the problem. And sometimes it gets frustrating because you can't always solve the problem. Web design is a good business, same as accounting, because sometimes people think that getting the client is the problem. Well, if getting the client isn't the problem, you can have plenty of, and I've had this problem. You can get too many clients, and then you can't solve their problems because you get a log jam. It's hard to find good people. It's time consuming to train them. So the simpler you make solving the problem, the better for everyone. Because if you can make it easy with your talent, your experience, if you can streamline the process, that's what I'm talking about. That's the making of a good business. And number 5, last but not least, and also my favorite, is what's your why? Overall, what's your why? Why are you in this business? Why are you helping people? This stuff that drives us that we don't know is driving us. Things that we learned as a child. We don't get to pick our family, whether they're good or bad. And we don't get to pick what they teach us, whether it's good or bad. Okay? My family taught me well, and they had good intentions. But that doesn't mean that everything they taught me was correct or right in today's world. It might have been right and correct when they were growing up. But there's a lot of things that are hidden, that are buried deep within us, that we don't know where it's coming from. And that was one of the things that I say they don't teach us in CPA or business school. That the reason why I have such a drive to make money from my whole life, for my whole life, I never realized that I had a deep desire to help people until I went back and I started realizing that I loved watching the Jerry Lewis telethons. And for some reason I resonated with those kids and with the pain and suffering, and I wanted to help them. And every year I would wait until the telethon to give Jerry Lewis my $1 donation. And that made me feel good because I felt like I was really helping these people. And then later on, when I was 10 years old and I opened up a casino, because the week before, when I was 10 years old, we threw a fundraiser, we threw a carnival to raise money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association and Jerry Lewis. And then my friend's father, who had a business, doubled. He matched what we made. So I was 10 years old, and me and my friends, we made $200 in 1970. It was huge. It was huge. So a week later, I wanted to continue the fun, so I opened up a casino, and I made money again. I didn't donate that to muscular dystrophy. I just remembered. And that started my entrepreneurial career. It was based on helping people, making money, and then I just kept going with that. And at 10 years old, I thought business was fun and it was going to be easy and it was going to enable me to help people. And it plays into my connectedness. And I don't know where that came from. That if I was born with it, if I learned it, but I've been able to, and what I'm trying to help other people do is connect the dots, connect their business with their why. And it took me a long time, and I'm still figuring out my why. And what happened last week with Mr. Floyd and that police officer really threw me for a loop, because I make it a conscious decision not to watch the news. Okay, I sort of learned that from Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Work Week, which he explained that why should he spend the time watching the news when if something that important is going on, people are going to tell him. And it works. It works with sports, well, not so much with sports. You still want to watch if it ever happens again, that's another story. But people would tell me, hey, did you see what's happening now? Did you? So it wasn't until a couple of days after the incident, the murder, that I found out about it, that there were riots going on. And I went and I looked at the news, and I made the mistake of watching that awful video of the police officer murdering that man. And I got a deep sense of grief, and it threw me for a loop. I don't know where it came from, but I was having all of these hopes that we were finally going to be opening for business again. There were the signs, and I had all of this hope. And that one video, and it wasn't the fact of, oh, how is this going to affect me, but watching that happen to that man, just for that time period, made me lose hope in people. That it just, I can't explain it, but I don't understand how somebody can do that to another human being. And I'm not talking about police officers doing it to a black person. I can't comprehend what black people must go through to have to deal with that kind of racism. But for anybody to do that to any person, it was just gut-wrenching. And then I was stupid enough to watch it again. And it hit me to a point where I was almost paralyzed. And I had an interview scheduled with a gentleman yesterday, and I couldn't do the interview because it just bothered me so much. I couldn't get it out of my mind. And then I had a mastermind meeting yesterday, and it was the same thing. I was just distracted. I couldn't focus. And, and God puts people and things in your life to remind you of what's really going on. And that was tragic. But one of the people in my mastermind group just kept talking about that all we need to do is get better. All we need to do is get better. Lynn Brown, who I'm going to have on Saturday as a Facebook Live guest. And, you know, what I got from the whole episode right now is that, you know, there's a lot of problems out there, folks. And I'm not going to be able to solve all of them. And there's bad people out there. There's sick people. And that's always been like that. It's never going to change. And some of my people, like Elizabeth Frederick, reminded me of, you know, the fact that we all have our thing that we're supposed to be doing. And somebody put a post up on LinkedIn today. I think it was my friend Christopher Roush. And it said, I'm going to leave you with this tonight. It said basically that when bad things happen, you can let there's three ways to deal with it. You can let it define you. You can let it destroy you, or you can let it make you better. And that's what I decided to do with this incident and how I reacted to it. Because I'll tell you the truth, I took 3 days off because I didn't want to think or talk about business. And that's a loss to me. That's a lie. I let that incident affect me, and I don't ever want to let that happen again. So on that note, I'm gonna tell you that's my story. I'm sticking with it. Joe DiChiara. And if you want to connect with me, you can go to timewithjoe.com. And if you want to join my mastermind, like I said, they're free. Saturday at 2 o'clock, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and good night.